Hi guys, I hope that you're all really well. Alors, salut tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez tous très bien. I've just had a coffee, my mouth is quite dry. Alors je viens de boire un café. Donc j'ai la bouche un peu sèche quoi. I'm having difficulty speaking. Alors j'ai du mal à parler. Good, so a bit of nostalgia. Alors un peu de nostalgie. So I was just having a conversation with a very wise 8-year-old girl. Alors je viens d'avoir une conversation avec une petite fille de 8 ans qui est très sage. And I was saying that I was thinking about somebody. Alors moi je disais que je pensais fort à quelqu'un. And she said, you've always told me and taught me that if you're thinking about somebody, to contact them, because there's perhaps a reason why you're thinking about them and you don't know what they're going through and you don't know the benefit of your contact. You don't know what it could possibly do for them. They could, you know, it might really help them just to know that somebody even thinks about them. Elle m'a dit que oui, alors tu m'as toujours dit, she does not vous voir, mais alors tu m'as toujours dit de contacter quelqu'un à chaque fois que tu penses à quelqu'un. Voilà, parce que ça se peut qu'il y ait une raison, voilà, ça se peut qu'ils aient quand même bien besoin de ce contact, de savoir que quelqu'un pense à eux. Yeah, so I just really wanted to tell you about somebody who was just so massively important when I was younger in my life, and I think kind of important to a lot of the work that we do on this channel now. Alors j'avais hyper envie de vous parler de quelqu'un de très important, quelqu'un qui était très important pendant ma jeunesse et qui a eu sincèrement un rôle très important, tout ce qu'on fait actuellement avec cette chaîne. So when I was I still a teenager? Est-ce que j'étais encore adolescent? So I went to Paris to study dance and singing and whatnot, you know, general performing arts. Alors je suis allé à Paris pour faire les études de danse, de chant, voilà, en général, comédie musicale. Avec la danse classique, avec le chant classique, whatever. It was a great course. And there were two main singing teachers. Alors il y avait deux profs de chant principaux. A beautiful woman called Eliane Baron, and a fabulous guy, and it's really annoying me that I don't remember his surname. Alors ça m'énerve parce que j'arrive plus à me souvenir de son nom de famille, which is terrible because he was fabulous. Ouais, ce qui est quand même terrible parce qu'il était fabuleux. Philippe somebody. Oh God, he was such a good guy. Most of what we talk about with vibration in this channel came from him initially, as in I then modified it for what we do, but that's what, you know, sowed the seeds for that kind of technique. Alors c'est quand même ça qui a semé les graines pour ce genre de technique. But the lady was called Eliane Baron. La femme, elle s'appelait Eliane Baron. A beautiful woman. C'était une belle femme. C'est une belle femme. So I will attach a Wikipedia link underneath and you can read about how basically amazing she is, the career that she's had, the life that she's had. Alors je vais quand même attacher un lien pour Wikipédia en dessous, vous allez pouvoir lire, voilà, across the road, tout ce qu'elle a réussi à faire avec sa carrière, son métier, sa vie privée. She really is an impressive person. Alors elle est vraiment quelqu'un de très impressionnant. So, you know, first of all, I think she lost her dad when she was 3 years old. Alors tout d'abord, elle a perdu son père à l'âge de 3 ans. I think she even went into an orphanage for a little bit. Je pense qu'elle a quand même passé du temps à l'orphelinat du coin. Went back to live with her mother, worked really hard, got into the conservatoire. Oui, alors la mère, elle est venue la reprendre. Elle a commencé les cours de chant. Elle a commencé ses études de chant, voilà. C'était où? C'était, oui, conservatoire de chant à Paris. And it's like, she was just a really cool lady. Alors c'était une femme formidable. But, you know, so she tended to do the more kind of classical stuff. Elle avait tendance à faire, voilà, tout ce qui est un peu plus classique, because that was obviously the training that she'd had. Alors c'était la formation, l'entraînement vocal qu'elle avait eu, and he was a little bit more modern musical comedy. Alors lui c'était un tout petit peu enfin, la comédie musicale moderne. Actually, that's not strictly true because she had a really good knowledge of kind of like 80s and 90s pop. Actually, she had a really nice talent for converting, you know, songs into yeah, actually no, I stand corrected. Now that I think about it, she did have a really good repertoire outside of classical stuff. Alors ouais, lorsque j'y pense, elle avait quand même une bonne répertoire en dehors de tout ce qui était voilà, le chant classique. Just fabulous. Everything she touched was brilliant. Alors tout ce qu'elle nous a dit était formidable. But that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. Alors c'était pas ça quoi, j'avais pas envie d'en parler. What I wanted to stress, alors ce que je voulais quand même souligner, stresser, was just the perseverance, the courage, the determination of this woman. C'était quand même la détermination, le courage, enfin, la persévérance de cette femme. So, and weirdly this is why I think about her now, et bizarrement c'est pourquoi je pense à elle maintenant. So, if you remember what happened with Julie Andrews, so she had like a few voice problems. She went to see a surgeon, and then as a result of the operation going badly, she kind of lost her voice, didn't she? Which obviously must have been enormous on an identity level. Alors, si vous pensez un moment à ce qui s'est passé à Julie Andrews, alors c'était une chanteuse qui avait quelques problèmes vocaux, qui s'est fait opérer, qui a perdu la voix, enfin la plupart de sa belle voix. J'imagine qu'au niveau, enfin en termes de son identité, que c'était, enfin, catastrophique. And the same thing happened to Eliane. La même chose lui est arrivée. So when I met her, she was teaching singing and she knew how to describe what she was doing, and she did have some voice, more of a jazzy voice. Et voilà, quand je l'ai rencontrée, elle avait une belle voix, mais c'était quand même une voix un peu plus jazz, c'était moins classique. And if you listen to her repertoire, if you look at what she's done, she was, you know, beautiful soprano. But it was just the fact that this woman, at the time, was able to go back into that world, be surrounded by young kids, all of whom just had, you know, these great strong voices, no physical injury, and still wanted to share what she had to share, to be part of that world. And I mean, how the hell, at the time I just thought, how the hell does she just not get up every day and just weep? Alors je me suis dit à l'époque, mais comment, expliquez-moi comment cette femme arrive à se lever tous les jours, mais sans pleurer quoi. Because, and also, she was no great age. She still had years left. She should have been able to sing for longer. Elle aurait, effectivement, elle aurait dû pouvoir continuer à chanter. And I just found that mesmerizing. I mean, ça m'a fasciné à l'époque. And then I've heard other stories, particularly in dance, of people who've, you know, had a really interesting career and then something's taken it away, like an injury or, you know, whatever. Alors j'ai quand même entendu des histoires des gens, enfin, avec des vies mais pleines d'espoir, you know, toute une belle carrière devant eux, et suite à, je sais pas, un accident, une blessure, quelque chose, ils ont tout perdu quoi. And it's like, it just really fascinated me when I was younger. Alors ça m'a toujours fasciné quand j'étais jeune. And yeah, and weirdly, because of what obviously happened to me with the medication, you know, I'm limping now. As I'm walking now, I'm limping. Alors voilà, lorsque je me promène maintenant, je boite. So it's like, I don't know, the singing stuff she gave us was amazing. Alors ce qu'elle nous a donné en termes de la chanson française, en termes du chant, c'était quand même formidable. But I sort of feel this is really, really weird. It's kind of like you don't know what a teacher's giving you until possibly months or even years later. On ignore, plus ou moins, ce qu'un prof te donne au moment même. Like even a few years later, you sort of go, ah. And there's like this little moment. On s'en rend compte. And it's like, I don't know, I just started to really think about her when I thought, what am I going to do with my life? I can't ride horses, which is what I loved. I can't dance in the same way, like really like some, you know, nobody. Alors je me suis dit, qu'est-ce que je vais faire? J'arrive plus à faire de cheval, pas comme avant. J'ai du mal à danser comme avant. I mean, I do it, but I look like, you know. And I just found this woman to be a complete and utter source of inspiration. Alors j'ai trouvé cette femme une source d'inspiration. And sometimes you don't want to be the poster boy for bravery. You know, like my mom often says things like, oh, Lukey, you're so articulate with words. Why don't you take on, you know, this drug company? Why don't you kind of take on the NHS for the fact that the medication that you were given that's really damaged you was able to be given to you? Why don't you champion this and all of this business? And sometimes you're like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want my pain, my daily discomfort, my difficulty to be what represents me. Alors je veux pas que effectivement ma douleur, enfin tout ce qui est difficile pour moi, difficulté, je veux pas que ça me représente, you know, in terms of the identity. And so that's why I find Eliane so amazing, because obviously she's constantly sort of saying, I can't do this, but you need to do this with the voice. You need to think of this, you need to think of this vibration, you need to aim here, you need to be opening the back of the throat here, you need to be, you know, she constantly, and the articulate manner in which she described what you needed to vocally do, I just thought was badass. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. Alors effectivement, sa façon super, mais pertinente et détaillée et précise de la communication avec laquelle elle a décrit ce qu'il lui fallait sans toujours pouvoir le faire elle-même. Alors ça, j'ai trouvé mais sublime, un truc de ouf quoi. C'était, you know. So yeah, so anyway, so I remembered as well that she had a husband who'd sadly passed away, who I believe was called Luke. Oui, alors je me suis souvenu du fait qu'elle avait quand même un mari, le fait que, we'll often take the subjunctive, qui s'appelait Luke. I remember that her son, who was a pianist for some of the classes, elle avait un fils qui était notre pianiste pour certains cours, and he was called Guillaume. And obviously, my name being Luke William, I thought, wow, that's two names that she really connects with. Yeah. And I just really remember once her coming up to me, and it isn't that I didn't get compliments at college. Ouais, je recevais quand même, tu vois, des compliments, enfin, au collège. But it's like, be careful with the word collège in French, because it can be, you know, secondary school. But it's like, she just came up to me and was just like, oh my God, I just love watching you dance. Donc, elle est venue me voir, elle s'est approchée de moi, elle a dit, putain, mais je regarde te voir danser. And I thought, for a woman of your age, who's seen everything that you've seen, and she said, I can't remember whether she said ace or genius or something, but she said something like, I can even remember the words, like, il paraît que vous êtes, you know, il paraît que tu es, it seems that you are, you know, and she said, oh God, you're tap and you're, you know, you dance and this stuff. And the dance teachers, so let me see if I remember them, there were loads of them, but now I'm going to get into trouble if I say certain things about certain people who I know are still working. But we had this crazy Brazilian ballet teacher, we had a very classical French ballet teacher called Marie-France. We had another ballet teacher who was with the other ballet teacher, and he'd left the one ballet teacher for the other ballet teacher. God, it was so, there's a lot going on. And they weren't super huge on compliments. I really remember they were more kind of like, they were tough rather than loving, which I kind of have always appreciated, because I don't like, you know, flannel, because you then don't trust people. Et c'est que les autres profs de danse, ils n'étaient pas hyper compliments, c'était pas trop leur style. Eux, ils étaient vachement plus, voilà, critiques, mais voilà, c'était bien mérité, mais c'était, leur but effectivement était de corriger, était d'améliorer notre performance, c'était pas forcément de nous motiver à ce niveau-là, quoi. La motivation était déjà là, était déjà bel et bien présente. Donc pour eux, c'était une question de, voilà, voici les techniques dont on a besoin, faites-le comme on vous demande, voilà, allez-y. So to get compliments about something, and she was just so complimentary physically, like, this is going to sound really, really, really wank, but she was the first person, this is going to sound really, really, really wank, she was the first person who ever called me handsome. I know this is so stupid, je sais que ça va paraître bizarre, mais c'était vraiment la première personne à dire que j'étais beau. Because the one time we were doing something and she said, no Luke, go away, learn it properly, do it properly, it's not the right key for you, come back. She said, and she said something like, you can't just be this, and she said, yes, be this handsome young man that you are, but also with shit hot technique. Et elle a dit, oui Luc, alors il faut rentrer à la maison, il faut le refaire, il faut le faire comme il faut, voilà, pour que ce soit juste et tout. Et comme ça, tu vas être ce beau jeune homme, ce bel homme. And I was like, no one's ever called me handsome before. Really, seriously. It wasn't a question of being in English or French. Alors, c'était pas une question d'être en anglais ou en français. But it was just like, yeah, because I don't know. It's really, really weird. Like, I'd had lovely skin until the age of about 17. Alors moi j'avais une belle peau jusqu'à l'âge de 17 ans. And then at 17, I really needed my tonsils out. I mean, really. Alors je devais vraiment me faire enlever les amygdales. But they just didn't, it was less fashionable in those days. Alors c'était moins tendance. They kept saying, it's the way, it's how your body defends itself. Alors c'est ton corps qui se défend ainsi. And my mom was like, yeah, and how's that working out? He's constantly infected. Et ma mère, elle était, oui, alors ça marche comment? Parce qu'il a tout le temps une infection. And I just got like systemically there, man. And like, I'd started dancing in professional stuff at 16, and I was just wearing this like really shitty, thick makeup that was called by this German brand called Leichner, that was just basically lard with colour in it. Et moi, j'avais commencé à danser à 16 ans. Je portais quand même un maquillage, mais de merde quoi, c'était une gamme allemande si je me trompe pas, et c'était, ouais, épais, c'était gras, c'était dégoûtant quoi. Ouais, c'était de la graisse colorée quoi. And oh god, I had the worst skin, alors j'avais vraiment une peau de merde. And yeah, and so then that had kind of, I don't know, nuked the end of my teenage years in terms of kind of like self-confidence. Alors ça avait quand même, ça a niqué effectivement les années adolescentes en termes, enfin, tu vois, oui, tu vois, tout ce qui était, enfin, ouais, disons que j'étais un peu nerveux, disons que j'étais un peu faible, disons que j'avais pas trop, enfin, confiance que j'ai maintenant, ou que j'avais. And so, yeah, so it's just really weird. And so this woman was just like, and whether or not she thought it, or whether or not she, I mean, I did then look at pictures of her husband when I went around the house once, and I said, okay, I suppose you like people with a certain kind of face. J'ai quand même vu les photos de son mari quand je suis allé chez elle, et j'ai dit, ok, alors, vous aimez quand même les gens avec un certain visage. Yeah, I don't know, there's just this connection, you know, you just have a connection with somebody. Vous savez quand vous avez une connexion, vous ressentez une connexion avec quelqu'un. So yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to celebrate the life of this person. Alors je voulais quand même célébrer, fêter la vie de cette personne. Go and read her Wikipedia. Allez-y, lisez son Wikipédia, son profil. She's cool. I'm sure she's more than happy. Her retirement, her, you know, got a lovely son. I think he's, you know, married. But yeah, anyway. I hope this has touched you on some level. J'espère que ça, voilà, j'espère que ça vous a quand même touché, que ça vous a quand même plu. Yep, if I were drinking something, I would say cheers to Eliane Varron. As it is, I'm about to go to the gym. Alors si je buvais quelque chose, j'aurais dit ok, chin chin à Eliane Varron, mais effectivement je vais bientôt aller faire du sport. Alright guys, loads and loads of love. Bisous. If you've liked the video, please click like, please subscribe. Remember there will be a coffee link underneath. I'll speak to you guys soon.